one session. This is going to be the first one, so I'm sure the energy levels are not as high as it was earlier in the morning. So I know that in Chennai Super Kings is obviously very popular, and one of the brand names that gets everyone pumped up is our own superstar, right? We call him Talaiva. I'm going to mouth a famous dialogue, the first half, and let's see if you guys can complete it, right? I'm not a complaint, but I'm going to take a stab at it. Now, what is that also now? Yeah, I think energy is back. So, I'm here to talk about AdSense, which is a great monetization solution for publishers. If you have great inventory online, you can monetize it using AdSense and other products. But before I proceed, I just want to get a feel of how many of you know what AdSense is, or how many of you know what AdSense is? How many of you are existing partners? Are you currently monetizing with AdSense? Okay, that's good. So before I start the presentation, I just want to present a small video. Some of you have already heard of this popular tech blogger called Amit Agarwal, who has labnol.org. Let's see what he says about AdSense and how it enabled him to quit his day job and make it a full-time job, right? Which is tech blogging.
Software company, life was fun. I would get up early morning, spend some time to get ready, and then leave for work. Sometimes there were traffic jams, so that made the commute slightly longer. Life inside the office was always busy. There were deadlines to meet, calls from clients, timesheets to fill, status reports, and then there were those team meetings. Sometimes they were very interesting, but sometimes very boring. Days passed, and I was enjoying my life. Something changed one day when some friends told me about blogging and how blogs could be monetized using programs like AdSense. Soon that day came when I decided to quit my job and flew back home in Agra, the city of Taj Mahal, to become the first professional blogger in India. Now I can get up anytime. There are no traffic jams. I can work in my pajamas and I can work anywhere. Yes, I mean anywhere. Hi, this is Amit Agarwal and I write a technology blog called Digital Inspiration that's monetized using Google AdSense. I don't work in pajamas, but yes, I do blog full time, and AdSense helped change my life forever. The most impressive part about AdSense is that their ad inventory never goes out of stock, no matter where your visitors are coming from. And
okay, looks like there's some technical issue here. So basically, what he's trying to say is, give his experience about how AdSense enabled him to quit his day job and continue to do what he's best at and good at, which is tech blogging. I've interacted with him several times. He, like he said, right, he lives in Agra, and then so Google AdSense actually enabled him and empowered him to do all of these. So what is AdSense, right? It's a great tool that enables you to monetize your traffic. So for instance, if you have a great website, right, and you have a lot of unique visitors and you're growing your traffic and you have inventory on your website, it's a good way to monetize your inventory using Google AdSense. It's a hassle-free way because one is you have lots of advertisers across the globe, not just from India, US, Middle East, Australia, name it. Wherever you have traffic coming from to your website, those kind of advertisers from those regions can actually target your users, right? And hence, the monetization potential is immense. And we also have amazing targeting tools for advertisers to actually reach out to their end audience. In the earlier session with AdWords 101, we saw how Google Display Network is a critical part of a solution sales. For advertisers to be able to reach out to their end audience, they use search, right, which is fantastic. They also use YouTube, mobile, and also Google Display Network. So Google Display Network is a collection of all the websites that are part of AdSense and use our monetization solution. So like I said, you have lots of advertisers, you have amazing targeting tools, and you have very creative ad formats. So all of these enable the publishers to get hassle-free revenue And that's what is, in essence, is what AdSense is all about. So what I'm going to talk through today is just explain some of the key features of AdSense, how it works, and also say why you should partner with AdSense as opposed to other networks, and talk about some of the key highlights or key value proposition of what AdSense is all about. And then towards the end, I'll introduce you to a product called DoubleClick for publishers. As the publisher grows in terms of traffic, if you have built your own direct sales team and you have other networks as well that you want to use and monetize, you can use this wonderful product called DFP, which is DoubleClick for publishers, as an ad serving solution. So I'm going to introduce that as well. But my primary focus would be to focus on talk about AdSense and its features. Feel free to stop me anytime and ask me any questions regarding the features or the policies or whatever, right? I've bumped into some of the publishers outside and they had questions around policy, so please feel free to stop me anytime in between. So you would have seen while browsing on any popular website, right? I mean, take the top Tamil news sites. How many of you read Tamil news online? Dinakaran, Vikatan, Malayamala, all, name it, everyone is our partner. So you would be seeing ads something like this, right? While browsing, ads by Google or ad choices, which is the new logo that you would see. So this is where you will see ads with respect to how it blends with the content. So we have different ad formats. So based on how the layout is of the web page, you can use that kind of ad format. Now on your website, you obviously have content. You must be also having video. You must be also having a mobile website, right? So with the growth of smartphones, expected to be about 32 million smartphone users this year and 100 billion internet users on mobile, it's important to have an optimized site for mobile. So if you have that as well, we have a corresponding solution to be able to monetize that. Similarly, if you have video, now top news channels, they have videos as well embedded. So you can monetize video with respect to overlay ads or pre-rolls and so on. So I'm going to talk about these in slightly more detail later, but just giving a flavor of what AdSense is, right? So you can monetize your regular content, mobile, you can monetize your video, and you can monetize your games as well. So we have different products for all of these. Now let me tell you how AdSense actually works, right? Just talk you through the whole chain of connecting the user to the advertiser and then the publisher, which is you, and how you will play a critical piece in this ecosystem. So first, publisher chooses to be part of our network, the Google Display Network, and then chooses what type of ads show up, be it text ads or display ads and so on, and makes them targetable, right? So you're letting your inventory out there open for advertisers to target. The advertisers, as we have seen in the earlier presentation, you create a campaign, you target search, you also target GDN. And then there is an auction that happens. So based on the targeting tools, I'm going to talk about the different targetings that are there for an advertiser, right? The popular one is contextual targeting, right? So where you have these keywords and the relevance of the web page, and correspondingly you have a bunch of ads that go into the auction. The one that wins the auction obviously shows up. But the important thing to know is they actually pay for the second highest bid. So if you have the top advertiser that is willing to pay, let's say 100 rupees per click, the second advertiser in the auction just was bidding at 50 rupees. If the first advertiser wins and there's a click that happens, he'll end up paying only 50 rupees. So that's a smart pricing that is there, in this auction system. And then after that, once the click happens and once the revenue is realized, so Google invoices, and then whether there are third-party networks or through Google, so there will be one single point of contact. So the publisher, end of the day, based on the revenue earned, would just get a check, a monthly check. So in simple terms, that's how AdSense works. The good thing about AdSense is, for the user and for the advertiser, it's the right ad at the right time at the right price. The right price, I talked about smart pricing earlier. So you pay for the second highest bid that you beat out in competition. in terms of hundreds of advertisers that are available across the globe. So you have this huge pool of advertisers. And then in terms of targeting technologies, be it contextual targeting where it is based on the context of the web page, or be it like interest based or whatever means of targeting, you are getting the right ad at the right time, at the right price. And that's what AdSense gives benefit towards the advertiser in reaching the right audience. Now text ads is something that you would have seen, right? I mean if you go to any website, you will see text ads and display ads. Text ads is something very unique to Google. It's our big strength. Like for instance, my favorite color is blue. If I were to design a website, blue, and then I can accordingly customize my text ads to be in line with the context of the page. As opposed to my wife's favorite color is pink, so she can customize her website and make sure the ads actually match the website, right? So you need to understand what your demographics are, who are your users, and accordingly create your website in line with your users, and you can customize the ads that kind of blend in well. That is when it comes to the text ads. Obviously, there are a lot other ad formats that we support outside of text ads. You have image ads, which is these banner ads. I'll talk about the different ad formats that are available in terms of sizes. It comes in skyscrapers, a rectangle, and the popular 728 by 90 and so on. But we have image ads. We also have expandables, right? And then for video, like I said, if you have video content, you can monetize that. So video overlay ads. So on the video, you would see just like you see on YouTube. You'll also see pre-rolls, interstitial ads. Bottom line, you have several ad formats outside of text that you can use to help advertisers target. So if you enable your inventory for all these different ad formats, then you are increasing your chances of monetization. So because advertisers are trying to be creative, use different kinds of ad formats to reach out to the end user, so it's important for you to enable your inventory for all these different ad formats to maximize your yield. So that is in essence what is AdSense, right? I just talked about the advertisers, the targeting, and how the auction works, the different ad formats. Now why use Google AdSense? Now what is the value proposition of Google AdSense? One is hassle-free revenue, right? In terms of on-time checks, on-time payments that happen every month, there is no. You have a question? Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Regarding this online check, I do feel that I have been using this AdSense for the past 4-5 years. But earlier, there was some certain procedures. But even now, I feel that the time duration for receiving the check, it takes too late. For example, my latest check, it has been posted on June 27th. I am still yet to receive the check. So, is there anything you can do to receive the check soon?
Yeah, so we use Blue Dart, right? So which is one of premium partners for delivery, and we obviously work with them and make sure that they get the feedback so that they can hasten the process and make sure the checks are delivered on time. But the bigger solution would be to have electronic, right? Which is something that we are looking at in terms of, obviously there is some government policies and stuff because Google Inc. is paying, right, as opposed to not Google India. So some of these policies issues are there, which is why we are not able to provide an electronic transfer. But we'll definitely work with our partners, Blue Dart, to make sure that there's no delays in terms of checks. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think all these different options are obviously there. I'm sure our team has tried out to see what is feasible and what is the best. And I think the policies that are there with respect to the India regulations prevents us from using any other format outside of check. But the longer term solution is to go through EFT, I think, which is a hassle-free way, which you see in several other countries. So we will try to get to that. So hassle-free revenue, right? Except for a slight delay in terms of your checks, but you will get your checks. It's like monthly. Once you've built your traffic, there won't be instances where you won't get your check at all, right? So yeah, so I've met in several publishers, and they've kind of said the same thing, that what if you're not there, right? So we are working towards improving that, making it much faster. Especially if you don't receive the check and when you're not there, I think we should do it faster, not have 60 days. Yeah. So one is that revenue, right? Because we have this big pool of advertisers and all these great targeting mechanisms in place, we're able to show return on investment for the advertiser, which enables them to keep coming back to Google, right, to spend on the Google display network. So which is why we're able to provide maximum revenue for every impression. I'm sure there are other networks that could provide you like higher eCPMs and stuff, which we have seen publishers talk about it. But in terms of scale, in terms of the monetization opportunity in filling your inventory, I think Google comes out on top with respect to your coverage, right, which we have seen with several top publishers as well. So while we try to increase, continue to work on eCPMs, our model is more on performance based. Google network is performance based network as excuse me, as opposed to like a CPM based model. So it's based on clicks, and hence the CTR and your user engagement is really what determines your yield, right? So similarly, in terms of customization, so when we work with our publishers, we suggest optimization tips with respect to using the right ad formats and also using the right targeting and stuff to actually drive yield. So we do provide these customization techniques as well that can enhance the yield. Similarly, we try to continuously innovate with respect to tools. So I'm going to talk about some targeting called remarketing and so on, which we have innovated, which has resulted in amazing yield for the advertiser. So we constantly try to innovate and make sure that our contextual targeting algorithms are giving the right and very relevant ad to the user, right ad at the right time. So like I said, right, in terms of number of advertisers, there are like hundreds and thousands of advertisers out there. Name it. Let's say you have traffic coming from Middle East or Australia or New Zealand or anywhere, we have an advertiser there that can target, especially for your NRI audience. So if you are creating content for either international audience or your NRI audience, you have advertisers that can fill that inventory at a much higher CPC. So the yield obviously for your foreign advertisers is higher than the Indian advertisers. Now, I'd like to spend some time here and explain the different targeting tools that are available, right? The number one and most popular is contextual targeting, which is, let's say I'm a sports buff and I'm browsing ESPN and I'm looking at sports updates, let's say basketball. And then Nike is launching a new basketball shoe, and the ad that shows up there is very relevant to what I'm browsing. So if a user is actually seeing a very relevant ad, the propensity for the user to interact with the ad and eventually convert is a lot higher. And hence contextual targeting is a fantastic tool that we encourage our advertisers to use. So there's that. And then placement targeting, right? So this is another interesting tool. For instance, if a Nokia or someone is launching a new phone, or Samsung just launched S3, yeah? That's a wonderful phone. So they actually try to target these top websites, like the Hindu. So you go to Hindu and you see on top a Samsung ad. Not very relevant to the context, but then they want brand. They want brand awareness that they're launching a new product. And hence, we do recommend placement targeting for certain type of content. The other one is interest category. Let's say for a particular website, you know your demographics, you know what kind of audience, and accordingly you know their interests. So if you can make yourself targetable, you say that this is my audience, these are the interests, advertisers can easily target those audiences. And finally, remarketing. This is a recent trend. The publisher is king here, right? So it's your content, you're the king. So you can decide what kind of inventory you want to advertise, what channels you want to advertise. So if you feel that you don't want placement targeting, you can disable placement targeting. Really? Okay. Yeah, I can take it up as an offline. A placement targeting ad. Yeah, I mean, take that valid feedback, make sure that it is 100%, right? So we keep obviously, some publishers want to disable placement targeting because their competitors are targeting, right, to show up on their website. So definitely that feedback is valuable. We'll look into that. And we can discuss offline as well. Yeah, properly. Finally, remarketing is an amazing tool. So, my wife keeps complaining that, I'm not taking her on vacation. And I always wanted to go to Thailand, right? I was hoping my friend would get married, but he's not getting married. So, no bachelor party. So, but I have to go to Thailand, right? Take my wife out. So, I was just looking for hotel deals and flight deals. I made all the searches, but I didn't book. Then I said, okay, let me book later. And then I go browse my sports, which is my favorite, it's called basketball. And I see these ads of that particular travel site. So they're actually following me, and they were following me to the point that kept on reminding me, hey, you showed interest, you're planning a vacation. Eventually, I actually made a purchase. So remarketing, is a great tool. Although contextually, it doesn't fit with the nature of the site, but then you're actually targeting it. And we've seen amazing results for certain verticals, right? So we tend to like push all these different targeting to our advertisers. In terms of my team, right, so we are responsible for all the publishers. So be it acquiring publishers, signing them up, or working with you guys to grow your revenue or inventory. But what we also do behind the scenes is we work with our sales team to make sure that they pitch Google Display Network in the right way to the advertisers, right? So when they go and sell Google as a solution, it should also include GDN. So we tell them for which advertiser, what kind of targeting is right, which websites work, and so on, so that we want these advertisers to keep coming back to Google, coming back to GDN, and so that we can help you guys, monetize better. So we do that behind the scenes. So essentially, these are the 4 different targeting types that are available that we actively work with our advertisers. And we also provide some other insights to advertisers with respect to some tools that can help them better target the Google Display Network, like his tools like Display Ad Builder, and then providing insights into how the conversions are, the new formats, and so on. So we are constantly providing through targeting or through the tools that are available for advertisers. We want to ensure that they keep coming back to media and spend more. And then let's say you've grown, right, in terms of you started off as a small publisher with like say 100,000 page views, and you've grown to like 10 million page views a month. So obviously you would have interest in these other advertisers wanting to work with you directly. And let's say you went on and built your own sales team, right? So in that case, you have your sales team, but obviously they can't fill all the inventory. They might work with like the top advertisers and get like really premium slots. And then you still have rest of the inventory that needs to be monetized. So you can have a mix of your direct sales and also Google. That way you are getting the maximum for your inventory. So AdSense complements your direct sales team really well. Not just direct sales team, you have your third-party network that you want to work with. I know there are other ad networks that you guys are quite familiar with, that you work with. We can all work together, be it your direct sales team or a third-party network and Google, to make sure that you get the maximum buck out of it. And one other thing that we do is ensure that the user experience is not complicated. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have your websites, really care about the user. How many of you use Google Analytics Okay, that's about 60-70% of the audience. So if you have your own website, I would definitely encourage you to first enable Google Analytics on that. And if you have AdSense, just integrate both. So it will provide you these amazing insights. Now, just like how you guys care about user experience, so does Google. I think in the earlier session, Suri was talking about how user experience is kind of ads that show up, we want to make sure that they're safe, family safe, they're very relevant and so on. So we do a lot of reviews of these kind of ads that show up through the Google Display Network. So we have very stringent ad approval policy as well. So, yeah, I mean, tomorrow we have a.
I'm not sure because.
So I'm going to talk about AdMob tomorrow. So I'm sure you might be interested. But just like for AdSense, you have an ad review center where you can actually block ads. You have a 24-hour deadline. So you can manually look at every ad and approve it. And only then that ad will show up. So that way you can control. And on the other hand, you can obviously raise a complaint saying that this particular ad is being shown, and then we can make sure that that ad is properly categorized. Maybe it looks like a not very decent ad, but maybe it's categorized this way. So we work with the advertising team to make sure that it's properly categorized. Similarly, a competitor ad might show up. Let's say you are a ringtone company. A competitor ringtone company who is showing up on your website, on your app, but who is still categorized as sports, right? So you block ringtones, but then they're still showing up. So because of wrong categorization. So that could be the issue that's the feature as part of AdMob, where you can advertise your own app, cross-promote your app. Maybe we can take it off offline and I can talk to you that. I was earlier mentioning that the publisher is king, right? Especially because of this. The publisher has the control. What kind of advertisers can target their website, and you can even define the kind of audience that are there on your website. There is a tool called Ad Planner. Make sure that your website shows up on Ad Planner, because when advertisers are actually targeting the Google Display Network, they use Ad Planner to say, okay, what are all the sites that I should target. So it's really important for you when you create your inventory to make sure it's targeted as well. And similarly, sometimes when you just block image ads and only show text ads, you're kind of limiting yourself in terms of the advertiser to get relevant. So it's really important to make sure that you support all the formats, so that you have this a lot of pool of advertisers that can push the optimization around it, and in turn will result in higher receipts. So basically, the publisher is the king. You have all the tools at your disposal to control how you want your inventory to be shown. And like I was earlier mentioning, you can filter out competitors. Let's say you have a couple of competitors that you know in the URLs, you can block their URLs. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like there are two ways to do it. So one is obviously Hindu should enable that, right? So let's say they create a mobile page or something. If they make it targetable, then their web page is visible for you, right? And then secondly, you can obviously choose, I want to be on top of Hindu, on NDTV and so on. But at the same time, you have to go through the auction, right, that I was just mentioning earlier. So in the auction, there will be your ad that you're targeting as placement. There will be other contextually targeted ads and so on. And whoever has the highest CPC or wins the auction will end up showing. So not just targeting, but also targeting at the right CPC is also important. But if the advertiser, if the publisher knows that you are targeting Hindu, right, and if Hindu wants to block you, then you will not show. Yeah, so this is one way you can filter out competition, right? Similarly, if you know that a particular category, let's say you are a travel portal and you want to block all areas, so you can block a travel category. Although we don't encourage blocking whole categories because there could be complementary advertisers out there that are not directly your competitors. So you could be losing out on ad revenue. So but it's important to understand what kind of filtering you want, be it at a URL level or at a category level. So this is one control that publishers have. I was earlier mentioning about ad review center where you can look at what kind of ad is showing up and you can actually place a poll, then review each and every ad. Obviously there is that. You can block and error advertisers and you can also review all the placement targeted ads. Right, to your earlier point that if you want to block someone, you can actually block it. And we have these wonderful insights that are provided through the AdSense front-end, right? So how many of you are using the AdSense front-end using it? It's called AdSense. Yeah, the new one. Yeah. Obviously, this has a lot more features with respect to revenue, the insights, and so on. So you can actually know how your ad units are performing. How is your tech stack performing? How is the CTR of the tech stack compared to the image ad? What is the CPM getting for you? You can obviously create channels. If you've created an ad unit and you want to monitor how it's performing, you can create a channel against that and see the performance. And all of these are there in the front end. And we have a workshop later, so I'll be there as well, and I can kind of walk you through all these different metrics that are there and how to look at it, and then what is it that you can draw insights from, right, that are provided in the front end. Similarly, if you want to know who are your most valuable visitors, where are they coming from, right? What kind of browsers are they using, and so on. One is you can use the advanced reports in the front end. The other one is analytics. So it's really important. One, you enable analytics, and two, you link analytics to AdSense. That way, you know clearly what's happening, where you're getting your revenue from. It's not just about your page views, but you also need to know impressions per user and the kind of revenue that you're getting. So that way, you know who your audience are that are actually ensuring that you're monetizing more and accordingly target and enhance your website to draw similar audience. So again, in the advanced reports, you can select all kinds of page, images, compare, ad units, and so on. Also, your website, you can use AdSense for search and monetize. Similarly, for video, I just talked about these like the pre-roll ads or post-roll or overlay ads. Same for mobile content, and similarly for games. So we have separate products for all of these. Now, when it comes to mobile, obviously, the app is still prevalent in India, but then smartphones are picking up fast, right? So when it comes to smartphones, we would prefer to show the regular, AdSense ads, and not like the mobile or the WAP specific ads. So while we cannot ignore the WAP, the money is really with the smartphone. So it's really important for you to create not just a WAP site, but also a high-end enabled website. You can look at the top websites in news channels like IBM Live and we all have these apps and websites that are very suitable to the device that we're using. If you're using an iPad, you have an iPad specific web page or something. So it's really important to optimize it because accordingly your revenue will increase. Right? If your website is really optimized for high-end, you can maximize your yield as well. So on time, except for few delays here and there. Not at all. We have several top advertisers who are publishers and vice versa. Like let's say you want to popularize your page, right? So one is obviously if you optimized it using webmaster resources, organically you'll show up. But you can use paid search and grow your user base. So we encourage either way. Yeah. So and the beauty of AdSense is there's no lock-in contract. Right? So you can get up in the morning and you decide I want to remove my email, or you can decide to put it back. Let's say there's Diwali, and then you have several direct advertisers. You can remove Google and put your direct advertisers, and so on. So it's pretty hassle-free, no lock-in contract, and then on-time payment. These are some of our partners. I'm sure you're aware that a lot of these softwares are partners. If you look at the top 1,000 websites, right, that accept ads and that are policy compliant. Policy compliant is very something that we're very strict when it comes to Google, especially when it comes to copyrighted content and stuff. Yeah, so he just asked the same question. So yeah, so definitely, I mean, this feedback I'll pass it along. Ideally, we would prefer to have electronic payment and stuff. I'm sure there are certain policies with respect to India that are preventing us from taking these plans, right? Because we provide that in other countries, so why shouldn't it be? So it's really related to policy. But we're working on that to make sure that we work with that. So if you look at the top 1,000 sites, and if you take all the sites that are policy compliant, right? There are several that probably have ringtones and music and so on, but don't have the copyrights. Pretty much 90% of the sites are with Google AdSense. Right? So I think it's a great ecosystem that enables the internet to kind of go forward because publishers are able to monetize and then accordingly build greater content. So clicks, right? You're talking about clicks. Yeah, so obviously the systems in place do recognize, in fact, you were asking the same question earlier. They do recognize that. If they know that, for instance, you have a certain set of IPs and maybe clicks are coming from that, they might say, okay, it's actually what you do. But if they know that it's coming from a specific IP which is not yours and your competition, then they wouldn't count that as valid. Yeah, firstly, I mean, so unfortunately my team doesn't do that. I mean, there's a separate team because it's like conflict of interest, right? So when it comes to policing, be it policy, copyright, claims and stuff, we have other teams that are doing them actively. So their systems are pretty robust in place. So we make sure that you're not penalized if your competitor is doing click fraud. So like I was saying, right, 90% of the sites are with us. So in terms of the ad formats, there's all kinds of sizes, billboard, banner, and so on. Different formats, with image, flash, and text, so on. And as you grow your traffic, right, I was talking about double click for publishers, which I earlier alluded to. This is a great ad serving solution that helps you monetize and then kind of operationally make sure that your ad serving is on top. Now if you have your direct sales team and a third party ad network and Google and you want to monetize it all, the best solution is using DoubleClick for publishers. So there are two products. One is DoubleClick for publishers, which is a premium model, and the other one is small business. So as long as you have 90 million impressions, which are non-AdSense impressions, through DoubleClick for DFP, we provide you the free product. The moment you cross 90 million per month, that's when you have to migrate to the premium product. And this 90 million does not include AdSense. So if you have your 90 million is a pretty huge number, right? So you're talking about the top 100 league. So you have to get into the top 100 sites in India to be in that league of 100 million plus page views and so on. So the beauty of this product is, on one side you have your direct sold ads, right? Your direct sales team is getting all these, Samsung is launching or Diwali is happening and so on. And then you have ad networks, be it Google or ABC. Now you can actually make sure that DFP prioritizes all of these. Like your direct sales ads maybe will show up for 1,000 times, right? Or to show up at this time. Maybe Samsung will say, I want to show up in Chennai, only in the metros. And I want to show up only in the evening when, when people are browsing and so on. So DFP allows you with all these different targetings to be able to, manage all this inventory seamlessly, right? Now in terms of, I was mentioning about targeting capabilities, you can target the browser, you can target based on bandwidth and so on. So the advertisers actually have this luxury to do this. So that way, they're reaching out to their right audience, which in turn is better ROI, so which means they'll spend more on us, right? So these targeting capabilities actually enable advertisers to spend more and get better ROI. And there's one feature I just want to briefly introduce you why I say that if you use DFP, you get the maximum buck for your inventory is because of this feature called dynamic allocation. Let me try to explain that. Let's say you have 3 networks, right? A, B, C. And all 3 networks actually are paying you, let's say, $1 ECPM, right? Dollar is really high, but let's assume they are paying. So you put, let's say, network A at $1, network B at, let's say, it's giving only 80 cents, network C at 70 cents and so on. Obviously, network A wins, right? Because it's paying the highest. Now, you can say, hey, you know what? Let's see if Google can beat $1. If Google can beat $1, which is the highest that any network is giving, we'll serve Google, right? That's dynamic allocation, in simple terms. So bottom line, at that right time, the highest paying ad is actually showing up and you're getting the maximum yield. So dynamic allocation is a great tool. Once you've reached that point where you get DFP and you enable dynamic allocation, we have seen ECPMs climb and publishers getting better yield through this feature. So just in a nutshell, right, these are all the features that are there with AdSense and DFP. And then obviously you can go to online help center and you can visit YouTube channels for DFP and AdSense that can give you a lot more insights and a lot more information. With that, I would like to just close out on another video that talks about some of our publishers in UK. Let's see, hopefully this works.
AdSense revenue from my website has enabled me to give up my main job and work myself.
My AdSense revenue has allowed me to travel the world. I'm not tied to a desk, I'm not tied to a time schedule.
I've got more freedom to work how I want to work.
I found myself blogging, on the river of an Italian mountain top.
At the end of this month, I even buying a small fishing boat.
I've been able to go on holidays.
It's allowed me the freedom to work from home.
Our first check we used to purchase a Wii for the developers. We bought a barbecue for our terrace.
My AdSense revenue has enabled me to give up work and be a full-time father to my 2 children.
Well, AdSense has enabled me to keep the site online.
What it mostly does really is just let me do what I do without it costing me any money.